As most of you out there probably already know, there's been a lot of talk in the gun community lately about Fudds and whether someone's a Fudd or not. You know, are you actually pro-Second Amendment, or are you just pro-gun to one degree or another? Or are you just a shill, a sellout, a fraud, a profiteer, etc.? And that's got a lot of people wondering. I wonder where my favorite gun channel or my favorite gun celebrity falls on that scale from, actually pro-Second Amendment down to, to the sellouts. And I think they have a right to know that. I think most people have a right to know where the people they're listening to are coming from, especially in a day where social media basically leads the charge in the fight against the anti-gunners. So you got to know where the people setting the base are coming from. Because if there's someone who's not really pro-Second Amendment and they're telling you what's important, you have to know, that this is coming from a guy who's not really pro-Second Amendment. You're just pro-gun to one degree or another. And I think people have a right to know that. So you know who to believe on certain issues and who not, and who's being motivated by personal interest or motivated by personal ideas, etc. So today I thought I would make a little challenge here. Now I know some people are going to freak out because I said challenge. There's going to be channels that are like, oh my God, I've been triggered, and he challenged me. He's challenged my self-worth, and now I have to actually try to prove I'm worth something. And it's just, I'm such a victim. Oh, victim. Hashtag me too. Those people. I don't understand where those people come from, because I personally don't want to live in a society or be part of a group where we don't challenge each other to be better and encourage each other to do more. If we live in a society where we just accept everybody the way they are, no matter what a big piece of shit they are, things aren't going to be great. We're going to have a bunch of people like millennials around. That's how we got those people. So I have every right, I think, to wonder where people are coming from and to ask them where they're coming from. And I think you have every right to know. So I'm going to put forward a challenge here, like I said, to all the gun channels out there. Make a video. Let us know where you fall on the scale. From Fudd to true Second Amendment patriot. Where do you fall on that scale? And like I say, I've done a video in the past telling the difference between whether you're just pro-gun or whether you're actually pro-Second Amendment. I'll put a link in the upper corner of this video to that so you can go see that video if you want to, if you don't really understand the difference. But if you know the difference between pro-Second Amendment and just being pro-gun or being a Fudd all the way down here at the bottom, this shouldn't be that hard of a question for you to answer. And that's what I'm asking everyone to answer. Now, I'm betting a lot of the smaller gun channels will answer this because they don't have anything to lose and they want to be honest. Now, I'm not betting that a lot of the bigger channels will answer this because they don't want you to know where they're coming from. Because they don't want to tell you what they really think, because that might cost them $1. And they don't want to have to actually come right out and lie, because then people will start going back and going, well, back in this time you said this, and that doesn't jive with what you just said. Or when this was being a big fight, you kind of said the contrary and actually downplayed it. So which is it? Are you lying now or were you lying then? So they'd rather be vague. They'd rather you not know, because if no one knows where you're coming from, then you don't offend many people and you don't lose people. I offend people all the time because I'd rather lose people than I would them not know where I'm coming from. So just let us know, where do you fall on that scale? Do you believe in restrictions of any type? Let's just say right off the bat, short version of my other video, if you believe in any restrictions on a free legal citizen's right to bear arms and have whatever they want, then you're not really pro-Second Amendment. You're to a lesser degree. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh my God, I believe in background checks. Does that make me a Fudd? I'm going to look bad. No, that doesn't make you a Fudd. It doesn't make you look bad. A lot of people believe in background checks. I think that that's mostly because people aren't educated on the reality of background checks, but a lot of people will believe in them. And it doesn't make you a Fudd. I mean, there's a great, Fudd isn't just a one-size-fits-all label. I mean, you can be 100% Fudd, but most people are not 100% Fudd. And believe me, just believing in background checks or wait periods or things like that, or no fully automatic weapons, that doesn't make you a Fudd. When it comes to being a Fudd, that's barely sticking your big toe into the Fudd pool, Don't worry, no one's going to judge you. This isn't a trap to make people look bad. We all have varying opinions of what makes sense. I'm a no compromise person. I'll be the first right now to say, I believe in the Second Amendment and that's it. Now, a lot of people will chastise me for that because a lot of people won't agree. They'll think other things need to be done too to stop crime and prevent the wrong people from having guns. But I used to believe that, but now I don't because I started doing research as I was more and more involved in the gun community. And I started realizing, hey, every single study that's ever been done from a legitimate source about the correlation and the direct relation between gun laws and crime has shown that there is no direct, demonstrable relationship between gun laws and violent crimes. Doesn't make a change one way or the other. Doesn't make a difference. So if gun laws don't stop violent crime and don't stop the wrong people from doing bad things with guns, what are they there for? Well, they're there to restrict your rights and my rights, the legal law-abiding citizens. And that's something I don't approve of. So I am no compromise on the Second Amendment. Now, that doesn't mean I don't believe in some conditions on the Second Amendment, because I do. Everyone can believe that the Second Amendment is the law, but you can still have a degree of, well, the law applies to certain people. And part of my belief is that. I don't think most people have their full rights until they're of legal adult age. So I don't think people that are not yet of legal adult age should just be able to walk into a gun shop and buy a gun. 10-year-olds shouldn't be able to stroll into a gun shop and say, hey, I want an AR and 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Because they're 10, and you never know what a stupid 10-year-old is going to do with a gun. Their brains aren't developed. In fact, most human brains don't develop till well into your late 20s. So that's why I don't ever listen to people under the age of 28 years old. Don't give a shit what they got to say. But so until you're of legal age, you shouldn't be able to purchase a firearm. Now, if you want to argue what legal age should be, 18, 21, whatever, I'm going to leave that up to you guys, not to me, because I'm the wrong person to ask on that. Because my own personal opinion is that no one under the age of 30 should be allowed out of their house other than to go to work or school. And while they're doing that, they have to have an adult supervising them. So I'm probably not the best person to get involved in that argument. But that's my one thing. One of the things I agree with is that people under the legal age can't purchase firearms. 2, anyone currently serving a sentence for criminal activity should not be allowed to buy a firearm. And I'm not talking criminal activity like, you're forbidden to come to the water park for 6 months because, you flashed people at the water park. I'm talking people that are actually in prison, people that are incarcerated, not someone who gets a ticket for jaywalking. And I will extend the incarceration period to a short term of probation after you get out of prison to make sure that you can integrate back into society successfully. But once you've served your actual incarceration and then your short probation afterwards, all rights should be fully restored to you. Period. So I agree with that restriction. If you're in prison, no, you don't get to buy a gun. Mail order, through whatever. I don't know how you go get it, but you can't buy it anyway. So that's number 2 on my list. No current felons buying guns. And number 3, the final thing that I agree with is that people that have been adjudicated as mentally deficient can't buy guns. Now, a lot of people are like, well, how are we going to tell who's mentally adjudicated if we don't have background checks? And I'll get into that in a minute. But here's the thing. If you're mentally adjudicated, you basically fall under rule number 1 again. You're not physically, emotionally, mentally an adult. The courts have actually come together. Medical professionals have come together. Your family has come together and said, listen, this person has a disability. They can't function as an adult. Therefore, we take responsibility. The court takes responsibility, etc. for this person. They no longer have their actual full rights, so they can't buy guns. And I'm fine with that because being adjudicated is a very difficult process. Even when the person being adjudicated doesn't fight back because they're not capable, they might be vegetative even, it's still very difficult. We've gone through this with family members of mine. So I wouldn't worry too much about that being abused. And plus, if you're worried about it being abused, then deal with making that system better. Don't try to make it to where, well, we got to allow people that are crazy to buy guns because the system that adjudicates them is bad. Well, we'll fix the system. Don't let crazy people buy guns. They're not crazy, but, deficient people. So those are the things I agree with. Now people are going to say to me, well, how do you make sure these people don't buy guns? It's simple. If you're a child, you don't get a legal driver's license. You don't get a hard card driver's license until you're of legal age. Before that, you just get a little paper permit. If you go to prison, they confiscate your driver's license, invalidate it. When you get out, while you're on probation, you don't get a full driver's license until you're off probation. If you're mentally adjudicated, they take your driver's license. You probably don't have one anyway, but they take your driver's license. Then all you got to do when a lawful, legal, resident of this country, a law-abiding citizen, actually goes into a gun shop and says, here's my driver's license, and they look and see it's you, they scan it, oh, yep, it's a valid state ID, just like they do when you walk into most bars nowadays. They're like, buy what you want. You're a legal, law-abiding citizen of age. Free citizen of age. That's the only restrictions I believe in, period. So that puts me, I'm pretty sure, high on the scale of pro-Second Amendment down to Fudd, I guess. So where do you fall? Let us know. Make a little video saying, here's how I feel about the Second Amendment. Here's the restrictions I agree with. Here's the ones I don't. And I'm not just a no new restrictions person. I'm a everything else should go away except for the Second Amendment and the things that I just said. People should be able to buy automatic weapons. I don't want one, but people should be able to buy them. People should be able to buy a tank if they want to. Anything that an individual soldier in the military can operate, we should be able to have as citizens. Anything that the police department has, period, we should be able to have as legal law-abiding citizens. No restrictions other than the ones I stated: underage, mentally adjudicated, or currently incarcerated, or on probation for a short period afterwards. Those are the only things I agree with. And that doesn't require a lot of laws. That just has to be one law saying, hey, you have to be a legal, law-abiding, free citizen of age with ID to buy a gun. I don't think that's too much to ask in today's society. You don't have to have ID to vote, but you're not going to turn around and shoot somebody from voting. So, but I'm okay with, everybody has an ID, and state ID should be free. It doesn't have to be a driver's license. It can just be a state ID. Anyone of age should be able to walk in and be like, I'm 18 years old or 21 or whatever you determine the age is, and go, here's my birth certificate, here's my papers, here's proof I'm a citizen, whatever you need. Now where's my card? No charge. I don't think that's too much to ask. And a lot of people are going to probably say, you're a fucking crazy person who wants to put restrictions on our rights. And I am okay with them saying that, because I'll be honest about the things I do believe. So where do you fall? And like I said, this isn't a trap. If you believe in background checks, say so. If you believe that people shouldn't have fully automatic weapons, say so. People aren't going to cast you out of the gun community for it, because most of you are going to be pro-gun who believe in some restrictions. The vast majority of people. I'm going to be at the far end of one extreme, and then there's going to be other people at the far end of the other extreme. And I don't think that most people are going to fall either way. Most of you are going to be in the middle, and you're going to believe in some restrictions. But I think it's fair that people know where you're coming from. And I think it helps you more clarify your position on some of the things you may have said or done in the past. And like I said, I haven't always been no compromise. As I got older, I became no compromise, especially when I got involved in the YouTube community and I started listening to other people like gun websites, military arms channel, people who defend the Second, never enough ammo, people who defend the Second Amendment on principle and actually believe in the right. They aren't just pro-gun. That really affected my opinions a lot too. Years of being on gun forums affected my opinions a lot too. Hearing from people that actually believed in freedom and trusted their fellow man to do the right thing affected my opinion. So even if you believe in some restrictions now, doesn't mean you'll believe in them 5 years from now. But I think everyone needs to know where you're coming from right now. So let's hear it. Are you pro 2A, or are you just pro-gun, or are you a Fudd? And explain to us why you're where you are on the scale.
Oops. Go ahead. lady at 46 South Rose. 46 South Rose.
Station 1 call, street tone that please. 10-4. Got the floor to go to that location also. This is 19, is that correct?
Sorry, one last.